Podcast City Network.
And we are back here on Final Score with Chris and Craig. And we have some exciting news to talk about, and none other than the NFL. Because stuff's been getting kind of crazy lately. A lot of stuff going on, and we thought it was going to be a little bit quieter, you know, as we start getting into OTAs, getting into training camp, getting in this little lull in the season before everybody starts getting ramped up again.
Yeah, you would think we'd be talking about the Odell getting his first pass from Baker and talking about all these great things, and everybody's excited. But yet we are talking about the other New York team that is yet again rearing their ugly head. The annual New York Jets circus has begun again, ladies and gentlemen. They are back under the big top and the big apple.
It hurts so bad.
Just to recap what we're talking about here, the New York Jets have fired their GM, Mike McCannigan. I think I pronounced that wrong, but you know, whatever.
It's the Jets.
Nobody cares because apparently the Jets don't either. They fired him on Wednesday, and they named Adam Gase, who is the current head coach. They named him as the interim GM until they find a replacement. It's kind of interesting that they hired a brand new head coach and then, oh, hey, here you go. You're going to run our front office now. Also, kind of weird, but
just a little
bit. So here's the timeline of what has happened. The Jets, they let their GM, Mike McCannigan. I'm still probably butchering that.
Probably are, but it's the Jets.
McCagnon. That's what it is. McCagnon. They let him run the free agency period where they spent $191 million on Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, Jameson Crowder, and Henry Anderson, just to name the few top guys that they got. Let him spend almost $200 million in cap space, and then they let him run the draft where they picked at number 3. They picked up Quinnen Williams, which was probably the smartest decision they've made all offseason.
Oh, I couldn't help it. There it is, the New York jokes.
Oh,
I got it on here.
You unveiled their new logo?
I did. It's right there. It looks so pretty.
They unveiled this on Wednesday when they fired their GM and named Gase their interim GM. But after all this happens, they go through free agency, they go through the draft. They tell McCagnon to hit the bricks 3 weeks after the draft. What's going on here, Chris? What is going on with the Jets right now? Well,
I can tell you right now, the Jets do not have a plan like their fellow new MetLife Stadium compadres, the Giants. I'm really befuddled by this. Why would you allow your GM to go through the draft, go through free agency, make all these signings, make all these decisions for how your team makeup is going to be roster-wise next season, and then fire him? And just because, and I bet you a lot of this probably came down to Adam Gase and the fact that just didn't have the players that he wanted. That's the only thing I can think of. But at that point, what kind of ownership are you if you're going to allow anybody to come in and kind of decide things for you? And even if that's not the case, what kind of boneheaded move are you going to make? You just landed Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, Jameson Crowder, Henry Anderson. You landed all these players that are good players.
Yeah, of course.
That can be contributors and that are really going to help Sam Darnold take that next step as a quarterback, as you would think, especially with a defense that you went and got Quinnen Williams in the draft, who honestly is a great defensive need for them on the defensive line. Ends are great. Center was horrible. So I feel like they made some good moves, but then you still fire your GM.
I think this is a classic story of the Jets ownership. They just get in their own way. They were on the verge of getting out of the train wreck of their past that has been the New York Jets.
Yes.
I mean, look at their past history, and just as far as free agent signings and just draft picks and people that haven't panned out. But they get in their own way. And I think what happened is the ownership was like, oh, shiny new toy in Adam Gase. Let's give him complete control and not go with the GM that they've had for the past few years.
Well, here's my problem with that is that you're a head coach. You're not really a shiny new toy. You're a mind. You're a person that's supposed to help take whatever players are on this roster and turn them into something great. The ones that are the shiny new toys are the Le'Veon Bells that you just acquired, the CJ Mosleys. Those are the ones that are going to be out there making the magic happen. So why fire the guy who just brought all this talent in, including what is considered possibly one of the best running backs in the league right now, even though he sat out a year?
Yeah, he's still talented.
He's still extremely talented, and I'll guarantee the freshest player there is at running back right now.
Yeah, he's the freshest. I mean, he probably also has some rust, but...
Well, yeah, but a lot of that can be knocked off through OTAs and through training camp and preseason.
True.
So
as long as he's not worrying about his rap album.
Well, hey, rap albums are serious now.
They're super serious.
Super serious. I heard Chris Carnage might drop one day.
Oh, wow.
I can't.
You gonna have Boomhauer on the track?
I can't. I can't even say it with a straight face. You kill me with that. But at the end of the day, though, you don't go and just throw everything aside just because there's some type of conflict. The Jets are denying that there was any kind of friction between Gass and McCollum.
That's the thing I don't get is they had an apparent rift between GM and head coach, and the ownership. They make an official statement saying there's no rift, everything's great, we're all kumbaya, and then they go, oh yeah, GM's out the door, head coach is now taking over.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
It's like when your children get into a fight and you're like trying to be to be like the person that of voice of reason, and you pick one of the children over the other.
Yeah, and you just punish them and send them to the corner. Or in this case, you kick them out the front door.
In this case, you kick them out of your roof.
You meg them. That's what you do.
Them.
You meg them. Get out of here, Meg. But anyways, I feel like this is utterly ridiculous. And I think there's more to this because you don't see a decision like this unless there is more going on. You don't just up one day and say, oh, you got us all these players, made all these decisions, and now we're getting into rookie OTAs and soon to be regular OTAs, and oh, sorry, you're fired.
Yeah. I think from what we've been seeing as far as sources and things like that close to the situation is they've had a few disagreements over which direction that they want to develop their roster. Mm-hmm. The big apparent wedge here was about Le'Veon Bell. Because, of course, you as a GM or an owner, you want one of the most talented guys on the field.
Oh, absolutely.
On your team, which makes sense. But you know what kind of money he's going to be asking for. And on the other side, you got Gase, who's like, why would you spend all that money on a guy whose shelf life is only maybe for a couple more years when you could use that money to spend on improving the offensive line, getting more help on defense, I don't know, getting other receivers for Darnold to throw to. But that's apparently where the big wedge in the rift came from, and that ultimately was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, but the thing is that the Jets have been so bad for so long. Why not take this type of step, especially considering what Adam Gase himself walked out of in Miami? It's not like he was doing all that much better there either. So at the end of the day, you're a coach who's supposed to come in and you're on the pro level. You're supposed to make it work because in a lot of situations, the head coach has no bearing whatsoever on a lot of players that come in or go out.
I wouldn't agree with that. I think it depends. There's certain degrees to it. But I don't think there's any coach in the NFL or even in any sport whatsoever. Maybe baseball is a little different, but I think head coaches all have, to some degree, at least a conversation with the GM of, okay, you're the new head coach. What kind of a roster do you see? Because you don't do those interviews for nothing. When you interview for a head coaching job, one of the questions is, what is your philosophy and what do you expect? How would you shape this team?
But how many times have we seen franchises go and just get a coach that fits their philosophy rather than just get a random coach either? And that's the big thing you look at. With Adam Gase coming in, though, they had to have had some kind of idea to what he wanted to try and implement, and you've already signed these players. So at what point do you make that decision where, hey, we're going to go with what you think, or we're going to go with what the GM's trying to do because it's giving you a lot of great weapons.
Usually you try to get a pair, your GM and head coach, that see at least relatively close eye to eye. Mm-hmm. Because if you have, like this situation, GM sees it one way, the team should do this, head coach sees it this other way, you're going to have a dysfunctional team, and you're not going to get anything done.
I wonder maybe that's why the Eagles have always been so good. Howie Roseman and Doug Peterson, just make it work.
How many championships have you won?
One. How many have you won?
I'm not asking that. We're not talking about that. How many?
Sweep it under the rug.
How many? I'm not saying that we're perfect.
Well, we have one Super Bowl title. Remember, we also have NFL titles from back in the day. But
so do we.
As
we
of
have
recent,
more than you.
As of recent, though, what do you have?
Yeah, exactly.
Barely an NFC North title, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah, maybe one. I don't know. I
think we've been to more NFC title games alone in the past 20 years than you guys have since playoffs.
We've been in one
in the past 20 years.
Oh no, we lost it. We lost that game. Sorry.
Yeah.
We got close. But I'm not saying that. Obviously, the Lions are another different story. They have a lot of dysfunction there. Hopefully, they're getting the ship right. But what I mean is you'll see a lot of situations. It really comes down to ownership. What does the owner ultimately want? Mm-hmm. If it's something like, let's say, for instance, using as a different example, you got like the Patriots. They obviously, Kraft wants a winner, and he got a guy that will do whatever it takes to win, and Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. Or you can have a team like, in a different sport, Houston Rockets. Their owner, he wants to win, but he also wants the flashy names. So he goes and gets a D'Antoni, who's never been successful in the playoffs. Never gotten to an NBA Finals as a head coach, to my knowledge. I'm pretty accurate about that, though. And what does he do? They get flashy names. They go get a Chris Paul, and they try to get these other guys. They try to get a Carmelo Anthony, and they pulled a Eric Gordon, and they try to get these names. I think there's a disconnect there. They're worried about the box office and selling the tickets to make money. And the Patriots, they know Kraft doesn't care because he knows money's going to come if you build a winner, because people are going to want to come to see your product.
That's true.
So it's, what do you want? What does the owner want? And I think in this case for the Jets, they wanted this year all the flashy names. They wanted to make a splash this year in free agency because they had so much cap space and because they had a terrible year last year. Attendance has been dropping year after year in the NFL.
That is true.
So what better way to try to draw more viewership and maybe draw some more people to come see your games, to go get a Le'Veon Bell and a CJ Mosley to headline your free agency class?
Well, a good way to attract fans too. A good one. Maybe drop some of those ticket prices a little, because some of them get kind of ridiculous. Well,
that's a completely different story. That's a league-wide problem.
Yeah, that's a league-wide problem. But give it to the Falcons though for having the cheapest concessions in the league.
I think more teams should handle it. Some teams are actually starting to get on board with that finally, but I think across professional sports,
it's a huge
everybody needs to do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But you know what? Not to interrupt you, we actually just had some breaking news come in.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles defensive end Chris Long, the reigning Walter Payton Man of the Year, is now calling it career after 11 seasons.
I was wondering when he's going to. I thought he would have done it after the Super Bowl, because he had been talking about retirement kind of roughly. And I would imagine that after that kind of a run, having the underdog run that they had, I would imagine he probably would have retired. But
yeah, this was announced just literally over a shade of an hour ago by Chris Long himself on his social media, with a picture of him holding up a red Solo cup to the mountains, saying, "Cheers, it's been hell of a journey." It says 11 years. He says he honestly couldn't put his soul into. He said he put his soul in every minute. Highs and lows. He says he's seen them both and appreciate the perspective, gratitude, and love to those who lifted him up. So definitely going to be a little bit of a blow, though, to the Philadelphia Eagles across that defensive line. But still, hats off to Chris Long. You brought us a championship.
Yeah, congratulations on retiring the way he wanted to. Some players don't get that chance.
No, they don't. And it's awesome that he was able to do it the way he wanted to. And the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously came out, released a statement congratulating him and said, quote, "He will always be a part of the Eagles family." So definitely great gratitude shown to Chris Long by the Eagles as well.
Yeah, he's had a great track record, not only just being a great player on the field, but he is a great person off the field and doing a lot of charitable work and doing all those kinds of things. He's been a great ambassador for the NFL throughout his career. So hats off to him and congratulations on retirement.
Yeah, and it's crazy when you look back, especially all the way back to 2008 when he got drafted. He was the number 2 overall pick in the 2008 NFL draft. Spent 8 years with the Rams, was with the Patriots for a spell, and as well as the Eagles, won titles with both teams. So it's really great to see. And especially he's only 34 years old, so he has so much more life ahead of him. And so much more that he can do. And I'm sure he's still going to do a lot of great charitable work, which ended up bringing him the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So really great person. And just a little side note, finished his career with 70 sacks.
Very nice.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. But getting back on track to what we were talking about with the Jets, the big thing that I saw with them too, especially Le'Veon Bell, is that no matter what, you just signed this man to a 4-year, $52.5 million contract.
Yeah.
That is money you have put up front. In the first year, I think he's still due, what was it? I think it was like 10 or 11 million or something like that. I can't remember the figures on it right now. But still, you have him on contract. Why not try and just go forward and make use of this guy? Because what did we end up seeing reports of?
Now, as soon as Adam Gase has taken over interim GM, they're apparently they're open to the opportunity to trade Le'Veon before the start of the season. And this was reported on ESPN by John Clayton, but I don't know how much validity there is to this. Because, I mean, it also could just be a bunch of speculation because of the story that previously came out that we just talked about, how he didn't want to spend any money on running backs, and especially on that kind of money on Le'Veon Bell. So this is probably just a product of that. I don't think there's any validity to it, but we'll have to see. It'll be really interesting.
Well, the thing is that a lot of teams, I'm sure, would still inquire, given the fact that it is Le'Veon Bell. So, I don't know, maybe the Jets might think they have an ace up their sleeve because this contract was still a little bit less than what people thought he was going to get, given what Pittsburgh had offered him at one point.
Yeah, unfortunately, he thinks in his mind that he played it as well as he could have. But I remember we had a big discussion about this on, I think about a month ago, if not longer, on one of our shows. And he ultimately cost himself money because he didn't play last year. Yeah, he could have got hurt and this and that, but playing on a franchise tag, you're paid as one of the top running backs in the league.
Yeah, and that was $14.5 million for him last year if he would have signed.
Yeah, and I know his cap hit this year isn't that crazy because he got a big signing bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad for a running back, honestly.
No, that's really not. And it goes up as the years go on.
Yeah, because he's not even one of the top paid running backs this year.
But what makes it so inflated, because he only has a $2 million base salary this year, but he has all the incentive, the roster bonuses that are on there, the signing bonus that's on there. But next year it goes automatically up in just base salary up to $8.5 million. So,
and that was part of the reason how they could get the numbers to work, is you had to give him a lot of bonuses and a lot of incentives, heavy loaded in the front, because that's what he wanted. Ultimately, he wanted cash in hand.
Absolutely.
He wanted money right there in his hand when he signs the deal. So it makes sense that you kind of space out some of it over the course of the contract. But that first year, we've seen a lot of teams do this with players in their first year. Antonio Brown got restructured deal once he went to the Raiders. And now it says it makes him the highest paid receiver in the league, but not from his base salary for the first year.
And that's what you look at. Even in the base salary, Le'Veon Bell will make $2 million, then $8.5 million, then it goes to $8 million, and then it jumps up to $9.5 million. But you look at all the roster bonuses. He gets a $4 million roster bonus in 2019, $4.5 million in 2020, $3 million in 2021, and another $3 million in 2022. So all that thrown on top of it, and also you look at all the incentives. He has 3 different subsets of yardage incentives. There's a playoff incentive, and there's also award incentives. So
I mean, that's pretty normal.
It is, but it's a guy that definitely can achieve all these too. And that's the thing, is that he can really be able to balloon up these numbers. But we'll definitely see how it works out and see if he's even going to be part of Gang Green come season's beginning.
Like I said, let the Jet Circus continue. The annual Jet Circus is back.
Well, as we allow the merry-go-round to circle back around to another issue is the fact that they don't have a GM.
Yes, they are looking at a couple of candidates, which one makes sense and two are a bit of a head scratcher.
A little bit.
So the first one being Philadelphia Eagles executive Joe Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is retired quarterback Peyton Manning, which was just recent.
Yes,
and
very recent.
The third was NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah, who's the now essentially the head scout analyst for NFL Network, with Mike Mayock leaving to be the GM of the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
The first one makes sense. The other two, what?
Well, the thing I look at with this, obviously, like we said, the Philadelphia Eagles looking at Joe Douglas makes complete sense. Makes absolute sense. Looking at Daniel Jeremiah, the only thing I can think of is maybe they're trying to catch Mike Mayock in a bottle, basically, where you're hopefully trying to strike lightning again, where hopefully that Mike Mayock might strike lightning, and maybe get something kind of splashy going with an analyst who might be able to come in and be able to actually craft a roster that would be able to fit to what Adam Gase likes to try and do.
Well, Daniel Jeremiah does have experience in the front office. He did work as a scout for a number of years in the NFL, and then worked in other front office roles before actually going to the NFL Network as an analyst. So he does have that experience. It's not like he's just completely cold and only done reporting.
Exactly.
He's got experience in the scouting department.
Yeah, exactly. And with all that backing that as well, it does make, I think, a little bit more sense than trying to bring in Peyton Manning, which this was said by Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. He reported that, quote, rumors are flying within league circles about the Jets head coach and interim GM Adam Gase looking to reunite with Manning, who he coached from 2013-2014 as the Denver Broncos offensive coordinator.
This is completely just grab out of thin air.
I think this is just a headline grabber.
I agree.
More so than anything.
I mean, Peyton's been offered coaching roles, and he's turned them all down. What makes you think he's going to all of a sudden go, oh, yeah, you know what? I want to be the GM of the New York Jets or be in a front office role with them.
Well, this is the big thing. That's funny that you say that, is that while Manning did turn down a Monday Night Football booth position last month, the big thing with Manning that I've been reading is that the only two things he's really interested in is either going into politics, which I definitely could see.
That makes sense.
Or working in specifically the front office of a franchise. Now, I kind of see him going more politics than franchise, to be perfectly honest, because name recognition and that big old, tarmac large forehead, it's notable. You're not going to miss it. But Manning in a front office? I mean, he might be able to evaluate you some good quarterbacks.
I think he could. He could be a good advisor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think there's been a whole lot of interest from him to be in that kind of a role, as far as all from what most people have seen of him. All he knows is he's a great quarterback. He's able to see things on the field that very few others could. So it'll be interesting to see if he actually does pursue this. I think part of the reason why he turned down Monday Night Football is because of the time commitment. He still does commercials and he does charity events, and he likes to be in his retirement.
But being an advisor to possibly help groom Sam Darnold?
It'd be interesting. I think if he were to join any front office, it would be either Indy or Denver.
I mean, that would make sense given the fact that he has his history with both those teams. But if he's someone that might be serious in just trying to get into a front office role, if the situation is right, the Jets might not be a bad prospect.
It might not be. If I were him to go to one of those, I would probably go to Denver instead. Just because Elway and basically what he's going to ask of you. I don't think he would go to Indy unless Irsay sells the team. To my knowledge, I don't believe those two ever saw eye to eye, because
or if Andrew Luck retires, whichever happens first.
Or if Andrew, I don't think that has any bearing on it, but
it might. You never know, because what I heard when they were in there for that one season, they didn't know if Peyton was going to be coming back or not before obviously the trade to Denver and all that. But
yeah,
it wasn't exactly the kindest of things between them.
Yeah, I mean, but you're professionals. I mean, you have to deal with that kind of stuff. I'm looking at it from, if you're in a front office, you're dealing with the owner. You're dealing with the GM.
That's true.
I could see him working well with Ballard, who's done a hell of a job as the GM of the Colts. But as far as ownership and Irsay and all of his antics and stuff, I don't think
we are talking about Party and Irsay here.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying is why I don't think he would step into a front office role there because of Irsay. Ballard would be a great pair with him, I think.
Oh, definitely.
But I think if he were to pick any team to go be an advisor, it'd probably be Denver most likely just because of his success there and with Elway and that all that.
Well, someone who has had success who's now going to be not doing so much at the beginning of the season is Cardinals cornerback Patrick Peterson, who was suspended now for the first 6 games of 2019 for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy. So definitely an interesting situation here. What's your take on this?
So originally they had suspended, the NFL had suspended him for 8 games for violating the drug policy. Then it was reduced to 6, and Peterson said he's not going to appeal this. My question is, with all of these other suspensions, and this is a touchy subject, but domestic violence gets you 4 games. What kind of a drug can you take in the NFL that gets you 8-game suspension? Steroids? You probably get banned for life. So if it's not steroids, what is it? A player recently just got suspended against the PED policy because his prescription for Adderall ran out as far as his exemption from the league, because you have to reapply for exemption from the league, so you don't, when it comes up in your drug test, you're still allowed to play. Yeah. But his exemption ran out and he forgot to renew it. His drug test came up and now he gets suspended for a doctor-approved drug, essentially. He has a prescription for it. But you get suspended games for that, but you only get 4 games for domestic abuse?
It's so ridiculous.
What in the world is going on? Like, what did he do? What did he take that was so bad that offered him 8-game suspension? And now he's not even appealing it at 6. That means he knows he screwed up.
Oh, he definitely does. Well, the big thing I know, too, is that one thing that they look for is masking agents. Anything you might take that might try to mask whatever kind of unapproved performance-enhancing drug it may be.
Saw that in baseball with the steroid era.
Absolutely. So that might be playing a part into this, and maybe that's also why he's not appealing it, because he doesn't want that to come out.
Probably. That would make sense.
It would make the most sense to me. But either way, though, people are getting popped for this, getting suspended this long, and like you said, domestic violence, 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially get a slap on the wrist. I mean, you get kicked off the team that you're on, and you got to have an investigation. But I mean, when you come back, look at was it Tyreek Hill?
Yep.
And Kareem Hunt.
He's already signed with the Browns.
Yeah, and he already got a new team, and he's going to be out 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just seems like they pick and choose where they want to punish people heavily and severely, like with Goodell when he was punishing the Patriots for Spygate and all that kind of stuff, trying to throw the book at everybody and tried to throw the book at Tom Brady. And okay, but you're going to let other players get away with. Eventually, they've ended up playing themselves out of the league, talking like the Greg Hardys and the Ray Rices, that situation.
The established players that have made notable impacts on the game and are in these situations, especially with some like you said, Ray Rice, where there's actually video of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's definitely, I think, a very disturbing thing when you have simple performance-enhancing drug issues getting you more time, especially like you said, you had a player that had an exemption run out. Now he's suspended, probably longer than someone who might have smacked some girl in the mouth at a bar somewhere. Which
is really unfortunate. Like it's really terrible that is what the NFL sees as, oh, okay, yeah, that's okay because it wasn't on video or the charges got dropped or anything like that. I mean, if you want to make a stand on that kind of stuff, you got to punish that way more severely than something like this where, and I don't know what, haven't released what it was.
Yeah, they haven't.
So it'll be really interesting to see if they ever do release that information. I mean, if it comes out to be something like steroids, that changes the subject completely.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely it does. But, if he doesn't appeal it and he just serves the ban, we might not ever know. Honestly, I don't think that information will ever come out. So,
yeah.
But either way, I guess we're just kind of in a wait and see scenario right now.
But for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's missing the first 6 games, looking at their schedule, it's not like first of all, their hopes aren't high.
No, they're really not.
They're not expected to make the playoffs and make a Super Bowl run or anything.
No.
But the first 6 games, you're home against the Lions. You've got a few weapons there in Detroit, but they haven't really shown anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Amendola, who's been hurt. Galladay, who's the number 1 now, but he still needs to have a breakout year. So that really, you're not missing a whole lot if you're Peterson. The Ravens, yeah, they've got Willie Snead and Hollywood Brown, but they're a running football team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not missing much in the passing game there. Panthers, they don't have a number 1 receiver. Bye. Seahawks, you've got Doug Baldwin's gone, so you got Tyler Lockett and maybe DK Metcalf if he breaks out in the first couple games, but not a threat there. By week 5 or game 5. Game 5 for the Cardinals, AJ Green, that's a big deal. That's a big matchup that he's missing out on.
Definitely is. But one thing I look at with all this either way, though, is that I think they'll be okay. I know Patrick Peterson might be probably the best corner on that team right now, but you still look down the list. You just drafted Byron Murphy in the beginning of the second round. So definitely a strong pickup. You still have David Amerson sitting there. But Robert Alford's sitting there.
Yeah, but Byron Murphy's not going to light the league on fire in his first year. Most rookies don't as DBs.
But I still think you'll be able to step in and be a decent contributor, and that's what they're going to need, especially now that you have this void sitting there, because people are going to have to step up regardless.
I think they're going to trade him at some point anyway, because remember, he requested a trade last year.
That is true.
And there's been rumor that he wanted a contract extension. It's not even really a rumor. It's just he wanted a contract extension. GM said no. So then he's like, all right, screw you. I want to get traded. And that's how this whole fiasco started, with the void or the wedge between Peterson and the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. So now the fact that this came out, now they can't trade him because he's suspended. So they got to wait until this is up before they can get rid of him, which will be pretty close to the trade deadline. So I wouldn't be shocked if right when he comes off suspension, he gets traded.
Well, the big thing, though, is that he's saying that his relationship in a recent 139-word statement that he gave before taking questions, that him and the Arizona Cardinals, the relationship's great. So
they say that.
That's a smokescreen all day.
Recent stories say otherwise.
Exactly. So I definitely have to agree once suspension's over. I think he's going to be out because you're still going to be able to get some kind of value for him regardless, because he's still a good player, and he's going to be really fresh at that point. So you'll be able to start right away if needed for any team. So
do you have how old is he? How many years has he got left on his deal? Do you have that
up
right now?
No, I do not, but I'm sure I could find it in nothing but a jiffy because
so he's 28,
right?
But I mean, he's got to have. He was looking for a contract extension, so he's got to only have maybe two years left. Maybe, I mean, a contender could easily trade, a third round pick for him.
All right, so for what he has right now, he had signed a 5-year, $70 million deal going into the 2014 season. So
he's about due.
He has 2 years left on his contract. This year, where he's due $11 million in base salary. Next year, where he's due just a shade over $12 million, not including any kind of bonuses. Overall cap hit is almost $12 million for this upcoming season and 13.1 in 2020. So still a lot of money due. But do you see anybody trying to pick up that amount for Patrick Peterson, especially after this, though?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I can see that.
LA Rams, I was just about
to say I can see the LA Rams trying to make a play in here, especially against a division rival.
I don't think they trade to a division rival. That would be the dumbest thing ever if you're Arizona.
I mean,
but of course they've been making some questionable decisions anyway.
There you go.
But I think a team that's contending that needs a boost at corner, I could really see them trading like a third round pick for Peterson a couple games into the season, or once his suspension's lifted. I could see them trading for him and, greener pastures and, actually have a chance to win finally.
Well, and there's definitely some teams that probably could be able to afford it. Just really depends upon who's there at that point, but we'll definitely see come then. And it's really interesting, though, this kind of stuff breaks right before we start getting into OTAs and all this. It gets all crazy. But who knows? Some team will be able to benefit from it. But shifting gears right now, we're going to move over into Major League Baseball. And it's been kind of crazy. A lot of ups and downs for a lot of teams, a lot of things just happening. One thing I definitely got to point out, that's Detroit Tigers, man. Like, what is going on?
Exactly what I expected of them. I mean, you remember when we were talking about the first week or two of the season,
right.
I was shocked because they actually were playing decently well.
Yeah. And now the last 10, they're 2-8 and lost 6 straight.
Yeah, they've lost 6 straight. And I mean, this is kind of what we expected as Tigers fans, is that it's not going to be, it's not going to be a bright year.
No. But you know what?
We had our window and it closed.
It did. But as a Red Sox fan, I feel pretty good. Even though we dropped one to Houston today, which is fine. We are 7-3 our last 10. We're 23-21, 4.5 games behind Tampa for the AL East lead. So definitely not too bad. But looking at the standings, the Rays are leading the AL East right now at 27-16, half game up on New York, who have now had their little resurgence and are also hitting plus 40. Who would have thought that with the Yankees? So because at first it didn't look all that good. But looking down, you got the AL Central. You got the Minnesota Twins leading that division. The Cleveland Indians 5 games back. So the Twins are getting a little bit of a comfortable lead going, especially on a 4-game winning streak that they're on right now. Definitely helps.
That's surprising to me because I know the Twins we were talking about in our preview show for baseball that the Twins were going to be able to potentially compete. I'm surprised that they're starting to pull away from Cleveland this early in the season. I figured Cleveland would be in this different position. They'd be swapped.
Well, definitely. But when you look at how good Minnesota's hitting is the big thing. They have 240 runs scored, second best in the league, behind league-leading Houston Astros, who are sitting at 248. So I'm not too surprised. Minnesota Twins, though, plus 63 differential. Also second to the Houston Astros.
Weird. It's kind of like a team that somebody predicted to play well is doing well.
So funny how things work out.
It's weird. Who did that?
But speaking of those Houston Astros, they're leading the AL West right now at 30-15. Are currently on a 9-game winning streak.
They're killing it right now,
including wins against the Boston Red Sox recently. So they're 8.5 games above the Angels in the West. So the AL is looking pretty crazy. But what do we got going on in the National League?
So National League, we have in the East Division, the Philadelphia Phillies are leading by 2 games over the Braves. Mets are about 5.5 back, and the Nationals are struggling, really struggling right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're 7 games back, but they're 5-5 in their last 10. They have a negative 29 run differential.
That is bad.
Which, as good as their pitching has been over the last few years, I mean, you still got Scherzer and Strasburger, the big two, but it's pretty clear that you can't score any runs. I mean, they scored 201 runs, but you've given up 230. So, I mean, you got to be able to score a lot more. And defensively, they're just struggling right now.
And just to put it out there, that 230 is definitely near the bottom statistically against all teams. So,
which is really surprising. Like we said, it was how good their pitching still is.
Definitely. But looking at the NL
Central is just as we expected this would be. Where you've got everybody but the Reds, really, which nobody expected the Reds to be competing, but they're still doing decently well at 21-25. But Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, Cardinals, 3.5 games within each other. Cubs leading that division,
but the team I picked though for that division, the team I picked for that division, the Brewers, were only 1 game back of the Cubs though.
The Brewers and Yelich has been playing phenomenal again this year.
Just playing out of their minds. I tell you, it's been very, very exciting to watch. Even yesterday, I think they won. They beat the Braves. Or no, sorry, the Braves beat the Brewers 12-8. But, that's okay. They were already on a 3-game winning streak. So, that's the thing is that they continue to win games when needed. And that's going to be the big thing, especially when you got Yelich out there looking just insane, who has 18 home runs on the season. 18.
He's still in MVP form like this.
Absolutely.
I would not be surprised if he wins it again just because of how well he's been playing. He's having a hell of a year. So
especially with 40 RBIs, you're batting at a 3.36. He's just killing it.
Yeah.
Just killing it.
And everybody knew that this division was going to be one of the hardest in baseball to win because you've got the Cubs, the Brewers, the Cardinals. But the Pirates are playing really well, too, right now. And it's still kind of early. Yeah, we're not going to totally count them out. Their big thing is with the Pirates, they're not playing well at home. They're 9-9 at home. I mean, you got to win the games at home.
That's the big thing.
If you want to compete in this division, you got to win at home.
Absolutely, you have to win at home if you want any kind of chance. But looking at the NL West, not too much of a shocker for some here with the LA Dodgers out in front by 4 games ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that plus 60 run differential might be helping with that.
They just got beat up pretty bad. Was it yesterday? They struggled quite a bit.
They lost 4-0 to the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, they got shut out. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. But
the funny thing about that though, that's after going on a 4-game winning streak where 3 of those games were goose eggs that they put up against. They ended up winning 6-0, 2-0, and 6-0. So.
Yeah, that's the team that we know is going to be there at the end of the year, just as everyone expected. Mm-hmm. Diamondbacks making a push just like they did last year, and the big surprise to me is two different teams in this division. The Padres are actually playing pretty well right now, and they're sitting 1 game above 500 and only 6 back in the division. But the Rockies are really struggling right now.
Ooh, horribly.
They're going through a rough patch. They have a run differential -7. They've lost 3 straight, 5-5 in their last 10. They're just struggling right now, and that is a division. If you want to try to make the playoffs, you've got to be close to the Dodgers. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
You're not getting in because of the other teams we just talked about. Every division in the NL is going to be very close at the end, near the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely, and it's definitely going to end up being just a race. Now, keep in mind though, we are only about 40 or so, 50 or so games in, so we still have over 100 games to go. So it's still going to be a long season. A lot could change with this going forward, but still, certain teams are still going to shine as we move on forward. But changing a little bit of gears now, though, in MLB, we got to bring you the Major League Baseball Best of the Week. And I'm going to kick off this one.
Do it to it.
With the Houston Astros reliever Ryan Pressly setting the mark with his 39th straight blank outing and a 3-1 win over, sadly, my Boston Red Sox.
That had to be hard for you to read.
It was hard for me to read, but I can appreciate what he's done because Ryan Pressly was acquired in a trade from the Minnesota Twins before last year's trade deadline. So this has definitely been working out for him because he has not allowed a run to score since August 10th of last year. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And in that time, in that span, he's had 47 strikeouts. He's had 17 hits only and only 3 walks.
The fact that he's only got 3 walks, which it's a couple of things. It's not only are you getting pitches in the strike zone, but even if they're not in the strike zone, you're getting guys to swing at it or at least not be taking pitches, which is pretty big, especially as a reliever, because the finest line as a pitcher is that little swing and miss. You've seen it so many times in the past where a reliever plays very well one year and they're lights out. They're getting saves left and right. They've got, very few hits, a lot of strikeouts. They're doing the same thing. They didn't change anything the next year, but guys are just reading their pitches and they know what's coming.
And that's what's been great about him, though, is that he's always able to mask his pitches. They never have any idea because since he's joined the Astros, since that trade before the trade deadline last year, in 43 outings, or 42 and a third quarter innings, or the third innings, whatever. Can't math right now.
Third and a quarter?
Third quarter, with an 8th and a 16th.
I bet it's third quarter in the Blazers Warriors game right now that you're supposed to give a live update.
That I am supposed to be giving updates on. Like right now, how the Trailblazers are leading 66-53 at halftime.
Oh, and at halftime.
Yeah, Trailblazers are up.
We almost made that work.
Almost made that work. But
anyway, back to Pressly.
In 42 and 1/3 innings, Ryan Pressly's been able to pitch with a .43 ERA, has struck out 52 batters, and has only allowed 2 runs.
That's incredible.
Since joining the Astros.
That's incredible.
That's just absolutely amazing, which is why Ryan Pressly is my best of the week.
My best of the week for the second week in a row.
Oh, look at you go.
I'm consistent, okay? That is what happens when you are a winner You are consistent, my friend.
Unlike your multiple best of the weeks last week.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Denial.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. gets my best of the week this week. He hits 3 home runs, the first 3 home runs of his career, all within this past week. On Tuesday, May 14th, he hits not 1, but 2 home runs in a game versus the San Francisco Giants, gets 4 RBIs in that game. And on Friday against the Chicago White Sox, not just his 3rd home run of the year. So congratulations to him. He's having a decently good start to his rookie year.
Definitely.
And definitely a big bright spot for the Toronto Blue Jays, who, I mean, they weren't ultimately looking at a competing season, but it's always nice to have a bright spot like this in your year.
It's definitely nice to have a bright spot in your year, especially when you're currently sitting 18-27 and having lost 7 of your last 10. So,
but they knew that coming into the year.
They did,
and that's why they basically have their first year skipper, and they basically told him to basically do what you want to do because we know we're not going to be competing in the loaded AL East.
Oh, yeah. The AL East is always super competitive year in and year out. So to even be able to sniff near the top, you're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Definitely. But looking at everything, though, it's been awesome. MLB season so far. Definitely going to be a lot more exciting baseball as we go forward. But I think it's time for a new segment.
You think so?
I think it is. I think I'm really ready for this.
It's always time for a new segment.
It's always time for a new segment.
Something new and fun and
exciting. But for this one, though, we're going to start with our new On This Date in Sports History. How exciting is this? I love taking a look back.
I like history.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of looking back to see what has happened in the past over the last week or so.
Well, in this day, May 18th, we're going to go back 15 years to 2004, where one Randy Johnson,
big unit
of the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitches a perfect game at age 40. No hitter, age 40.
That's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. You know what else is crazy about that is the fact that the record he broke, the former holder, was Cy Young. Set the record in 1904 at age 37.
You know you're pretty good when you're breaking a record held by a guy who's got a trophy named after him in that sport.
Just saying. So,
good.
Hats off to you, Randy Johnson.
He's had a hell of a career.
Oh, absolutely. He had a hell of a career. He's amazing. I saw all the kind of crazy stuff he could do back in the day. He could throw. Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, he could blow up birds too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen that, go look it up on YouTube. But no, May 18, 2004, he throws that no-hitter. So hats off to you, Randy Johnson, on the 15-year anniversary of your no-hitter at age 40. Oh, man, he probably hates me now, though, because that means he's 55.
Oof, man.
Sorry, bud.
So, hey, Father Time's undefeated, man.
Father Time's always undefeated. He always gets his man. But, if you run a very good play type, though, in basketball, you can sometimes get around that. All you have to do is give or go for our next segment. It's okay. I'm finding interesting ways to segue into these.
I love your new creative segues to other segments.
Gotta try it.
Gotta try something.
Well, until we get money to actually have someone take control of this computer off to the side and do it for us.
Oh, until we actually get a producer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Until we actually get a producer.
Until we actually can do that?
I don't know. Maybe we could talk to the network execs. Maybe they'll pull something off.
Yeah, maybe we can. We'll see what happens.
I don't know. Chris Carnes, I heard, is a hard ass though. So
yeah, he definitely is.
He is. He might F5 me.
Is he going to show up to draft day? I don't know. Is he going to be a special guest?
I don't know. Apparently, he said he might show up. I'm kind of fearful of that.
That'd be interesting. I've never met him before.
You never met him?
I've only heard about it.
He's very intense.
I heard that.
Yeah, very intense.
I've seen his promos.
Yelling. Yeah, he does a lot of yelling in those, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sounds like a smoker.
Well, the funny thing is, I saw a video of him where he drank like 7 or 8 drinks in a row for a promo. It's crazy because 2 minutes kills them all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's pretty incredible.
But anyways, we're going to bring out our Give or Go, and what do we got on tap?
So to kick off the Give or Go segment, I'm going to toss this one to you, Chris. Denver quarterback Joe Flacco says he has no interest whatsoever in mentoring rookie QB Drew Lock. Give or go.
Oh, we're going to give on this, and we're going to have to possibly stop the whole show for what I'm about to say.
I'm glad because I want to toss in on this.
Yeah, because this I find absolutely ridiculous on every level of the word. Now, nothing against Joe Flacco. He's done a lot of mostly great things in his career and got himself a Super Bowl ring thanks to Ray Lewis.
I guess.
All that kind of stuff. So, he ended up looking good being that D2 kind of guy or D1 AA. Where'd he go? Delaware. That's where it was. The Blue Hens. And
the Blue Hens, yeah.
Ended up coming up and it wasn't expected much. Ended up just being the man and ish. So he gets traded after being ousted after 9 games by Lamar Jackson in Baltimore last year. Gets traded to Denver, is now the new head man there. And then Denver in the draft turns around and is able to get what could be their quarterback of the future in Missouri quarterback Drew Lock.
And they got a bit of a steal with him falling where they got him. We thought they were going to go top 10 for sure.
Absolutely. He ends up dropping to the 2nd round. Come on. There's no way that usually happens. So Denver gets their guy, the guy they wanted all along, presumably. And now you have Joe Flacco coming out and saying, quote, "I'm not worried about developing guys or any of that. I hope he does develop, but I don't look at it as my job. My job is to win football games." Now, I do agree with a guy who wants to win games. That's awesome. But guess what, bro? You got ousted by a rookie last year. You might end up getting ousted by a rookie this year. If I were you, you might want to take a step back and realize the fact that you're not the hot crap on the block anymore. And that maybe you need to try and help the franchise that just made a trade for you in developing their quarterback because you're a vet now. Accept it.
I'm going to come to the defense here. And I'm not defending Joe Flacco,
okay,
particularly. But that comment that you made, his quote, sounds oddly familiar to another famous mentor situation that was not very well received. And of course, I'm talking about Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, in the frozen tundra.
So of course, when Brett Favre was the starting quarterback and the Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers in 2005, of course they didn't have the best relationship starting off. And Favre said, and I quote, "My contract doesn't say I have to get Aaron Rodgers ready to play. Now, hopefully he watches me and gets something from that," end quote. It sounds awfully familiar, right? I'm going to defend the position of the vet in this case. I know you're saying he's got to teach him. No, it is not their job. If you hire me to train someone, yes, I'm going to train them. But if you're hiring me to do a specific job, as far in this case, win games, win football games, be the best quarterback I can be, that is my job. I don't have to. And if we're both in the same QB room, one of us is starting over the other, I wouldn't expect you to just mentor me because I'm gunning for your job. And if the other way around, you're gunning for my job. So that's what the NFL is all about. It is very cutthroat. I mean, look at how many guys lose their starting jobs and then they're done. No more starting.
This is true.
Why not? You got to hold on to that as long as you can. And I don't blame him for coming out and saying this because at the end of the day, if you're the rookie, you're going to learn what's going on around you anyway. You can try to go and say, "Hey, well, what can you teach me, this and that? And, you got any advice for me?" And the advice is going to be, "Yeah, watch your back."
Huh.
I mean, nothing personal. It's just, you got to watch your back. If you're the vet, you only have so long of a shelf life in the NFL or in any sport for that matter. Other team sports, baseball and basketball and even like hockey and stuff, it's a little bit different, but the NFL is so here and now. What have you done for me now? What have you done for me lately?
This is true, but the big thing I look at with it either way is the only way that his comments are able to fly right now is because John Elway and the rest of the Denver Broncos brass have come out and said that Joe Flacco is in no fear of losing his starting position.
As he should not
and
be.
That he is the guy going forward currently.
As he should be.
Which I do agree. He should be. Obviously, you're not going to just hand over the reins to a second-round drafted quarterback. But at the end of the day, you have to think long-term. The Broncos presumably only have Flacco for the next 3 years. And then he becomes an unrestricted free agent at age 37 in 2022. So with that, you have to be thinking as ownership that you need some type of influence on this guy. Unless you expect John Elway to be sitting in there being the guy that's grooming him, you need somebody there to do it. Now, I feel that it's kind of sad because I feel that once you reach a certain age and you've been in the league long enough, you need to help the guys that are below you, because guess what? You were still that same guy there. Now, Joe Flacco walked into a much different situation. Obviously, you know what happened with McNair and everything with that. So it was a much different situation. But I still feel that he has an opportunity to gain a little bit more respect for himself, because, to be honest, that Super Bowl they won, which they only won one, was because of Ray Lewis and that defense.
So we still got a ring.
Yeah, but how many other guys can we say just has a ring? I mean, let's look back to the other Baltimore Ravens team that won a Super Bowl because of Ray Lewis. Who was the quarterback then? Trent Dilfer.
So he's got a ring.
Whoopee. Did he win that ring? No.
Does he care? No.
Well, I'm not saying he does or not. And that's up for a whole nother debate. But at the end of the day, I feel that he has an opportunity to really step in and help a franchise for the future while still being a guy who can win games. To me, it just seems kind of selfish.
Not everybody's a Drew Brees. Even the greats like Tom Brady, when it comes to grooming, he wasn't taking Garoppolo under his wing or any of the other guys that ended up starting when he got hurt or when he suspended and then go on and get their own contracts. Mm-hmm. He wasn't doing what Drew Brees is a rarity.
He's an absolute rarity.
He's absolute rarity in every sense of the word, in a good way.
Yes.
But most of them are like the Flaccos, the Favres, the Bradys, those kinds of, you're gunning for my job. Eventually, yeah, I might help you, but this is my job. I want to make sure that I get this job. You can watch how I do things. Watch how I prepare. Study how I do things. That is how you learn. I'm not going to just tell you my secrets. What's the point of doing that? Because then you're going to take my job.
Yeah, but I feel like, in those situations, you didn't see Tom Brady coming out and say, I'm not going to teach these guys anything.
Because they never asked him that.
But that's the thing, though, is that if Joe Flacco felt the need to say this, it makes me wonder really to what extent he's even going to offer anything up to this rookie.
Well, if I'm Drew Lock, no offense to Joe Flacco, and in my back pocket, I have John Elway in the front office, I'm picking Elway. I'm not going to Flacco.
That is a very good point.
I'm going to Elway.
Elway's won more titles, too.
Well, not even that. I'm talking about just the way they play is I would probably go and ask a Hall of Famer, how would you prepare? I know it's a lot different now than it was when Elway played.
Definitely.
But you can get some core basic things from that. Right. So that's where I would sit on that.
Maybe that's definitely not a bad way for him to go either, which is probably the route he's going to have to go at this point.
I would.
Given all this. But anyways, keeping things rolling, John Bellion announced he's leaving the University of Michigan basketball program to become the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers on Tuesday. Give or go.
First of all, it's Beeline.
Well, nobody cares. It's from Michigan.
Get some respect on that name, son. Get some respect on that name. John Beeline. Thank you. Secondly, what? As soon as I read this, of course, having friends that are all very, passionate Michigan following, we have all just been scratching our heads of why he would do this.
Right.
Couple of days removed, it does make sense for him because he started off coaching. He's had the most interesting coaching route of any coach I've ever seen in my lifetime, where he started head coaching at a high school level and then moved up, not to Division I, NAIA, like junior college level, then D3, then D1. Now he's in the position to go to the NBA. He has done it at literally every single level of basketball you can do it. And he's getting up there. This is a now or never shot for him because he's in his 60s. This is a now or never shot for John Beeline. I really just wish he would have taken the Pistons job instead of Cleveland. Of all freaking teams, why Cleveland?
Because it's the most available?
I have so much respect for him, so it really makes it hard for me to say that I hate him for doing this move because I don't. But I do because it's freaking Cleveland. It's Ohio.
Well,
but
like you said,
I don't get it. But it does make sense because he can basically shape this roster because it's a very young roster. They're tearing everything down, rebuilding. I wish they would do that in Detroit, but they got to have new ownership for that. Dan Gilbert, if you ever get a hold of this, please, for the love of God, buy the Pistons and bring some people with you because I know you want to rebuild Detroit. You've been doing it already. Please Get it out from Tom Gores. We would love you forever.
Well, John Beelan is pushing 66 years old. So at the end of the day, I think he's trying to take advantage while he can.
And that's what I'm saying. This is a now or never shot for him.
Yes.
And the Cleveland knows it. Beeline knows it. Michigan knows it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Side note, quick here. Michigan is now meeting with Juwan Howard to potentially be the head coach. I can't say that I'm a fan of this. I know he's very respected, and so many former players have come out to his aid and saying that he should be the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a recency effect because of Penny Hardaway. I don't know. I'll be really intrigued if they do end up offering him the job. I think he'll get some decent recruits, but I care more about how can you coach on the court in a game against a Tom Izzo or against a Richard Pitino or other like very good Big Ten coaches in the grind of a Big Ten season. How can you coach the X's and O's and manage your guys there, especially in the one and done era?
Very true.
All right, I'm done ranting on that one. All right, next one. Chris, this is for you. Your boy, Cowboys linebacker Jaylon Smith completes a promise that he made to his mother 3 years ago by completing his degree at Notre Dame and walking across the stage this weekend. I'm not even going to ask give or go because we already know where we should go.
We already know where this is going.
We already know we're going for give here.
We are. And even though it does hurt that the Cowboys drafted him, I still love Jaylon Smith with all my heart because he did such great things at Notre Dame. And he did make this promise to his mother 3 years ago that when he left Notre Dame early to go enter the NFL draft, even after the horrific injury he sustained in the 2016 bowl game against the Ohio State Buckeyes. I know it hurts. It hurts me too. Ohio State's done dirty things to us as well.
They've been doing dirty things to other people from what we've. Never mind. That's different.
We're not even going to go there.
Different story.
That's a different story for another time. So at the end of the day, though, he did go back this offseason, went back full time at the University of Notre Dame, and finished his bachelor's degree in film and television. And makes me think, and since he does have such a great smile and a great look, he might end up being a broadcaster one day. Maybe when his season ends, or when his career, I should say, ends. But it's still great to see him after everything he's been through, after being through the injury, having to take a year off from football, having dropped foot and the nerve damage and everything he had to deal with, to come back, be this number 2 tackler on his team last season, be a starting middle linebacker, and now you finished your degree from the University of Notre Dame. Hats off to you, Jaylon Smith, and great job, young man.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. I mean, his story just in general, from what he sustained and what he's been through, it's been an amazing kind of return to glory for him in a sense that, not many players get a chance to do this. Most guys, they're only caring about on the field. Obviously, he's a very intelligent man, a young man, because wanting to go back and finish, not only to fulfill a promise, but he knows he's setting himself up because that kind of an injury can happen at any time.
Yes, because it was a freak injury. If you ever saw the video, it's very gruesome. If you have it and you can stomach it, go watch it on YouTube.
It was pretty nasty.
But it was very nasty how he ended up injuring his knee. I know I watched it live, and when I saw it live, I wanted to throw up. It was utterly disgusting. It
was pretty bad. But, congratulations to him because not a lot of guys are able to do what he just did. Most guys wait till maybe the end of their careers to even attempt to do something like this. Fitzgerald did it.
Yep.
Who else? Edelman did it.
Just recently. 13 years after the fact, he goes back and gets it.
But the fact that they go back and do it is amazing. It shows that they're thinking forward and thinking about the future. So definitely congratulations to him. Great story.
Absolutely.
All the best of luck and success to him moving forward.
Absolutely. And I think he'll definitely take full advantage and do all the best that he can do because that's all Jaylon Smith knows to do. But the Lakers won't be filling their president role after Magic Johnson's resignation. Give or go, Craig.
You know I will always take opportunities to crap on the Lakers this year. It's no offense to any Lakers fans, but man, the only other circus that is just as big, if not bigger than the Jets in the NFL right now is the Lakers in the NBA. This is just another layer to this onion that we peel back. And it's just another head-scratching move by Jeannie Buss.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're talking about here is The report was done by Ramona Shelburne of ESPN. It was stating that Rob Pelinka, who's the GM, he's just going to report directly to Jeannie Buss rather than to a team president. So I don't think he's going to get the official title of team president, but he's basically going to take on a dual role here. Good luck, Laker fans, because if they don't want to get on the phone with him now or before when they had Magic, this is great. This is fantastic.
Love it. You know, after suffering 10 years ago through the Magic losing the finals to the Lakers, I finally feel like I can sit back and get my comeuppance watching the Lakers just dissolve into what they are now.
The only way that the Lakers at this point can salvage any kind of respect or get back on the right track.
Sell the team.
Yeah, exactly. Sell the team.
Okay. I didn't know people were going to go with that, but yeah, I think seriously, sell the team.
Jeannie Buss has got to sell the team because, I mean, obviously she either doesn't care or doesn't know what she's doing.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
And obviously, Rob Pelinka, his 2 claims to fame were he played for the Fab Five. Shockingly, I didn't know that till about 2 weeks ago. Played with the Fab Five at Michigan, and then he was Kobe's agent, which I know we've hammered that home the last couple weeks, but it bears repeating.
It does.
He's got very little to no front office experience, and he is not respected by anybody really.
Anybody.
So, I mean, this is just another cog in the wheel that is the LA Lakers circus. That is also, I mean, who would have thought we'd have a circus in multiple sports going on right now?
It's crazy too. And you know what? It gives us something to talk about though, because
and I thank you.
And I thank you because we need something to talk about, you crazies out there. So continue doing what you're doing, Jeannie Buss. You're running the Lakers in the ground, and we love it. But at the end of the day, though, that was Give or Go. And sadly, we're coming near the end of another episode. Man, we're 14 in, man. This is getting cool.
Yeah, this is getting exciting. We've always got a lot of things coming up down the pipe that we're looking forward to. And what are you looking forward to this week? I know we were talking about some of the big things we got coming down the road in a couple weeks.
Oh, yes.
What are you looking forward to this week?
Yes. Oh, man, there's so many great things going on this week. First and foremost, though, I think I have to talk about the fact that we're going to have Money in the Bank, WWE, this Sunday.
There's a few events, like wrestling events, that I'll watch anymore, and that's one of them because it's always an exciting match.
Oh, yeah, it always is. You never know what's going to happen, especially when you have a guy like Kofi Kingston involved in a match. You never know what will happen. Of course, he's the champion this time around. Who would have thought? But, hey, makes for good television. So I definitely have that on the plate. Another good thing I'm really excited for, Game of Thrones series finale.
Series finale.
I'm
going to need you to do me a favor and not spoil anything for me because I won't be able to watch it live tomorrow night. I know it's really tough, but, you know, duty calls. I got to travel.
I'm about to say, do I got to pull a Stephen A. Smith and just walk off the stage?
You might. I hopefully will be able to watch it later that night, but...
oh man,
yeah,
what are they
so
doing?
Please don't spoil it.
All right, I'll try not to message you right after, screaming and crying and
yes, please,
you know, leaving you voicemails,
blubbering like a woman,
you know,
blubbering like a baby.
Yeah, just because you know John had to pull the good old Shawn Michaels and super kick Danny's head off. You know,
I love that meme that you sent. I love that meme you sent me.
Oh,
you know, it's just Arya's gonna do it though.
More than likely,
Arya's gonna kill her.
It makes sense because now she's gonna be all mad. She didn't kill Cersei. You got to kill someone now, right?
Oh yeah, she's got to do something.
Yeah, got to do something. Which
so here's a topic of conversation we've been talking about.
All right,
some friends of mine talking about this. Does one person sit on the throne, or do they just get rid of it and they just go to the kingdoms, kind of rule themselves?
So here's my prediction: Jon Snow's going to end up being the one that's going to sit on the Iron Throne. However, Jon is very adamant about not sitting on the Iron Throne. I think he will deny it. The Iron Throne will be destroyed. Seeing as how King's Landing and the Red Keep's pretty much destroyed, and it'll end up becoming a committee. And John's going to go live north of the wall.
I've heard a lot of that. I've heard a lot of rumors about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you can't leave your wolf. You can't leave your wolf Ghost like that.
No, he needs to go back and get Ghost, go hook up with Tormund, and go run the north.
I mean, until another White Walker shows up.
Well, then he's already in place and ready to go.
There you go.
So, you know, you got Valyrian steel sword. It'll be all right.
What I'm really looking forward to, and I'm wondering if they're going to do this. You remember, like early on when the Night King touched the baby?
Yes.
We haven't seen anything about that. Like, there had to be a reason why they showed that, other than just to set up the fact that he can create White Walkers.
I mean,
there's got to be. There's no reason you just do that. Just do it. There's got to be a reason behind it. What if there's more White Walkers? What if he created another Night King that's just a child?
Just in case, because he knew he was going to be taken down?
I mean, he knew it would be inevitable at some point, right?
I mean, you make a very valid point here. HBO.
Hey.
My gosh. Look at you. You might
might.
just called it out. My mind's kind of blown
If
right now.
that happens this week, I'm going to literally... I
I'm
can't say it on air.
going to call you right away and say you need to give me the winning lotto numbers for next week. All right? And then we're
Screw you. I'm going to keep it.
Then we're going to kick this production in the high... What?
I'm going to keep the lotto numbers.
I mean, you're going to end up investing it in FinalScore anyways.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I guess
So
it's
what does it
win-win.
matter?
Yeah, it's win-win. It all works.
It's win-win.
All right, just make sure you're buying the next pack of beer. So anyways, though, this has been FinalScore. Thank you so much for joining us. So many great things and places that you can find us. Of course, you can find us on social media on Facebook at /PCN FinalScore and on Twitter at PCN FinalScore. And of course, you can find us on all of our crazy offerings on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podbean, and of course, Google Play Music. Make sure you check us out on all of those platforms. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe, check them out, give them a download, give them a listen, tell us what you think. We always love interacting with our fans. And definitely make sure that you check us out in 2 weeks from today, June 1st, at City Limits Tap Room, 2620 North Woodland Boulevard. FinalScore will be there for Draft Day. We're going to be the special guest. It's going to be real amazing.
That's what I'm excited for.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be live at City Limits and live on Twitch at 8 p.m. So definitely make sure you check it out. And if you aren't able to make it, like I said, go on to Twitch at twitch.tv/Podcast City Network, and you can check it out live there. But this has been yet another episode of FinalScore. Thank you, Craig, for coming on yet again. God, you're so entrenched in here now. I don't think
I know. There's nothing literally that's going to probably uproot me from here.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. You're a permanent fixture now.
I have to be, right?
Yeah, you've got some cool stuff going on over here. I like that Apollo's helmet,
Yeah.
The rest of it, though,
Well,
it's a nice Apollo's helmet, you know.
Little shout out to the Lansing Lugnuts, the minor league baseball team in Lansing, Michigan.
Oh, yeah, and of course, The Rock. Can't forget The Rock. I mean, hey, he's The Rock. Come on, you got to give The Rock a shout out. But anyways, though, this is FinalScore. I'm Chris. This is Craig. And until next time, y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.